Welcome back to Jersey Matters. Maybe the #1 issue in the state of New Jersey is taxes, especially property taxes. So what is going to happen in the state now that Phil Murphy is governor? Our Sherry Karabin takes a closer look.
Thank you, Larry. There are few issues more polarizing than taxes, and this election was no exception. Democrat Phil Murphy proposed raising taxes on the rich to pay for a host of items, while Republican Lieutenant Governor Kim Guadagno offered voters an income-based property tax cut and no new taxes. I spoke with two experts, one who didn't like either proposal, and another who saw positives in both plans. The verdict is in for New Jersey's gubernatorial candidates, with Democrat Phil Murphy getting a clear thumbs up from voters on November 7th. The former Goldman Sachs executive beat his Republican opponent, Lieutenant Governor Kim Guadagno, by more than 10 percentage points. Guadagno, who ran on a platform of property tax relief and no new taxes, got about 43% of the vote, while Murphy, who seeks to raise revenue by increasing taxes on the rich, received just over 55%. What does Murphy's election mean to New Jersey taxpayers? Ramapo College finance professor Murray Sabrin is not optimistic.
Phil Murphy's promising that only the wealthy would pay higher income taxes. But we know from history that once you start taxing upper income people, the next step is to tax middle income people. And that's been the history of taxation throughout American history. You start with taxing the smallest number of people, which is the wealthy, and then you start taxing where the really big money is, which is the middle class.
Sentiments echoed by Guadagno herself during the second debate.
With all of these promises, all of these fantasies, all of these entitlements, it's going to come from your pocket. There are not enough millionaires in New Jersey to pay for the type of increases that Phil Murphy is promising you. It is like promising a chicken in every pot. It's not going to happen. It's a fantasy.
During the campaign, Murphy discussed plans to raise approximately $1.3 billion by increasing the tax rate on millionaires to over 10%, closing corporate tax loopholes, and legalizing and taxing marijuana. He says the additional revenue will be used to fulfill a variety of goals, including fully funding the state's public schools, which he argues will help homeowners.
Funding schools fully is property tax relief. We're committed to undoing the benefits that the corporations and hedge funds and wealthiest among us have had, and driving that money into fully funding public education, and that is direct property tax relief.
Murphy is also promising to get the state's pension system back on track to solvency, insisting the state will live up to its commitments. He also wants to improve the New Jersey transit system, work toward raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour, and even offer free community college. John Whiten, vice president of the nonpartisan New Jersey Policy Perspective in Trenton, says the proposals are a step in the right direction.
Right now, we're not able to meet our basic obligations, whether that's the pensions or anything else. Schools are underfunded, higher ed is underfunded. We've seen what has happened with mass transit and all the problems there. So the state does need some money, and when you're looking to raise money, I think it's always important to do it in a fair and responsible way, and I think the plan he's put forth is pretty fair.
But Sabrin, who made several previous runs in New Jersey's Republican primary for U.S. Senate and ran for governor on the Libertarian ticket in the 1990s, says government is simply trying to do too much. He says Murphy's plan to raise additional revenue by asking the rich to pay more will likely backfire.
Right now, the top marginal rate is, if you make over $1 million, you're taxed at 8.97% above that $1 million. So if you raise that to 10 or 10% plus, that means that folks in that income bracket will have less money to keep. And when people have less money to keep, their living standards go down, their investment opportunities are diminished, and their charitable contributions will probably go down as well.
Sabrin says some of those millionaires will simply find ways to avoid paying the higher tax rate or even consider leaving the Garden State. And businesses looking for a place to set up shop may decide to avoid New Jersey altogether.
That's something we've heard many times before, and we've had these public debates in the past in New Jersey. And what we've seen when taxes have gone up on the wealthiest people in the state, we would never say that none of them left. Some may leave. But on the whole, the amount of money the state raises from those new taxes far exceeds the loss of anyone leaving.
As Murphy makes plans to restore state services, Sabrin warns he could be facing another major problem.
At least I think the next governor will be facing an economic downturn in the 4 years that the next governor will be in office. I think that's what the economic data suggests to me, that we will have an economic downturn because we've had this unsustainable boom now for 8 years, and it's going to end somewhere in the next 18, 24 months.
Whether Sabrin is correct remains to be seen. One thing is certain, Murphy's journey to raise revenue and grow the state's economy won't be an easy one. This is Sherry Karabin reporting for Jersey Matters.
All right, thank you, Sherry. Is pot going to be legal in New Jersey now that Phil Murphy is governor? We'll talk about it when Jersey Matters continues.